Hey everyone, I'm Blake, and today I'm going to show you how to make something that sucks. Let's get into it.
Alright, let's get started. I'm going to start out by using some 1/2-inch scrap plywood that I have lying around. I'm going to cut it up into pieces to make a simple box. When deciding the width of the box, make sure you test your dust port connection to see how big that is, and then just allow, 1/2 inch to 1 inch on either side. For this case, I have a 4-inch dust collector hose, so I made this about 5 inches. And this box is really just as simple as it gets. I'm just gluing the sides together and then putting in a couple brad nails for a little more strength, and that is it. Pretty straightforward. And then I'm going to put the bottom on here with the exact same way. Now, one of the keys to this super sucker downdraft table is putting a little ramp inside, and what this is going to do, it's going to allow more airflow, and also all the bigger debris and dust will actually go down that ramp much easier into the dust port. And for this ramp, I'm just using some scrap 1/8-inch fiberboard, and I'm putting the slick side on top. This fiberboard normally has like a rough side and then a slick side. I'm putting the slick side face up, that way the dust and particles can slide down much easier. And then it's as simple as tracing the dust port connection point and just cutting it out any way possible. Getting back to the ramp, I'm going to put a little bit of a support 2x4 under here just because that board is so thin and it wants to bow. So basically this will just keep it nice and upright and a little more solid than if I didn't have it in place. Now, in order for the super sucker to have super sucking power, say that 10 times fast, I use a thick coat of silicone to make this completely airtight and cover every single gap of the inside of this box. Now I'm going to add some supportive ribs on top of this box so the pegboard can be very sturdy on top. Now, I've seen a lot of these videos and none of them have any kind of support, which to me seems a little silly because this 1/8-inch pegboard is really going to sag in the middle. So these ribs are really just giving it a ton of support so I can put heavy material on top and carvings, and this thing won't sag. And as far as the sucking power, this is really not going to do much. I mean, it might cover up a couple of holes in the pegboard, but really that's not going to matter at the end of the day. And then I just added a couple more supportive pieces all around the outside of this for the pegboard to rest on. And on the end here of the top side of the ramp, that is not a mistake where the horizontal rib goes. It's basically just too thin of a space, and I want airflow to be able to still go under there, so I don't want to block that. And then once that's done, it's time to cut the pegboard down to size. I'm just using my track saw here. Super easy. Just make sure it fits nice and snug around all the sides so you don't have any airflow going through any thick gaps. And next up, it's just cleaning up the outside. I'm using my orbital sander with some high grit to smooth the edges, and then I'm going to use my router with a little roundover bit to round off all the edges on the outside. And here I'm just using some joint compound to fill up all of my brad nail holes, and then I'm going to sand it flush, and it's ready for painting. And for the paint, I'm going to do a base coat of white brush-on paint, and that's because this plywood tends to really soak up any kind of spray paint. So I highly recommend doing a base coat of actually brushed on thick paint before doing spray paint. Talking about spray paint, you will never have to shake your own can of paint again. Check out the video in the card above and see how I made this do-it-yourself paint can shaker with a Sawzall. Now, I'm going to do 2 coats of this orange color. Why? Because I have this orange color in my garage. I just have it left over. Like everything on this build, it's all recycled materials and recycled things from past jobs, and I just had this orange on hand, so it's orange. And once the paint's dry, I'm going to get some 5-minute epoxy and just epoxy this thing in, making sure that all the seams are completely airtight. And then even on the back side, I'm going to run some silicone on the back side. And here's the moment of truth. Let's put that pegboard on and see how it fits. So it fits like a champ. It just needs a little something else. So I got my circuit cutter and I made this sticker. I wanted to put 5,000 on there, the Super Sucker 5,000, but ultimately I decided against it. And this is the finished Super Sucker downdraft table. All right, now for the moment of truth. Let's test this thing. So right here, the machine is off. I'm going to hand sand some walnut, and you can see immediately there is just dust all over the place, and you know, like normal sanding does, it leaves sawdust everywhere. So now I'm going to plug it in and see how it works with the machine turned on. And now that I'm full, I could do a little sandpaper disc throwing test. And here, the Super Sucker is on, it's engaged, and we have it sucking these discs down to the surface. And coming up here, I'm going to take the Super Sucker, turn it off, and we're going to do the same test and see how it goes. So you can see the immediate difference here. These things are just sliding completely across the downdraft table when this thing's turned off. And look at this one here. This disc just doesn't even want to be anywhere near the top of this. This is definitely not user error here. All joking aside, this test really isn't very good. So let's get to some real sanding and see this how it really works. Here it is on, and you can see that there is absolutely no dust on the surface. This works best when you're actively sanding on top of it. But just to show you the kind of power it has, here is all the dust and debris from my miter saw that just gets instantly sucked down in these holes. And here is some walnut. Again, just to kind of show you how much it can do, but the best way to do this is to actively sand.
All right, I hope you liked watching this video. If you're making this at home, please let me know if yours sucks as much as mine does. If you like this video, be sure to check out all my other videos, give this a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. I'm Blake from BM Sculptures. Until next time, keep on sucking.